छोटे से दुनिया का बड़ा सा इंडिया, यह है अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया। चाय का प्याला हो या गपशप मिर्च मसाला हो, फैशन है, अग्रेशन है, विन बात का पैशन है, स्टार्टअप गिरी का फितूर है, अरे तभी तो इंडिया मशहूर है। उम्मीद का सवेरा है, खुशियों का बसेरा है, सपनों का देश, अपनों का देश, यह है अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया। मिट्टी में जो हम सपने बोते हैं वो आसमान को छूते हैं। गुडलक की टोपी पहन के भी शीश हमारे झुक जाते हैं। यहां जीत की होती तंग गलियों में तैयारी है और कागज की कश्तियां भी करती किनारों की सवारी है। सपनों का देश, अपनों का देश, ये है अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया। यहां आईना है, तस्वीरें हैं, संस्कृति भी खास है। चमकते बाजारों में मुस्कुराता प्यार है। रंग बिरंगी पोशाकों में तभी तो लगते चांद चार हैं। खुशियां हैं त्योहारों की, मिलजुल की, बहारों की। सपनों का देश, अपनों का देश, ये है अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया। पतंगों के मेलों में कटती रंजिशों की डोर है, सैर है, सपाटे हैं, यहाँ टूरिस्ट बड़े आते हैं। ये मेरा है, ये तेरा है, ओशों का सवेरा है, धूप है, छांव है, उन्नति के गांव है। सपनों का देश, अपनों का देश, ये है अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया। पैगामों का इंडिया, हाजिर जवाबों का इंडिया, गुब्बारों में उड़ते आसमानों का इंडिया, कश्ती में सवार निकल पड़ा है इंडिया, पंख फैलाए उड़ चला है इंडिया। सपनों का देश, अपनों का देश, छोटी सी दुनिया का बड़ा सा इंडिया, यह है अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया।
Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for sharing that beautiful video, which is making our Sunday afternoon more beautiful. With the hope that everybody is doing well and safe at their respective places, we welcome you to the special edition of Sunday webinar series, where we'll talk about a great brand. We welcome our panelist, Gaurav Maria, who is the chairman of Franchise in our Brands Limited, an author and entrepreneur who is going to share his journey, his insights with all of our participants and attendees who join in. We also welcome Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. She is the MD at Franchise India Brands Limited and Director at Remax. She'll also share her viewpoint on the brand, on the industry. We welcome Brand of the Day, Beyond Tea, a progressive tea brand from Hyderabad, which is promoted by Beyond Tea Group Private Limited. This is a great brand. Why? Because they have done a lot of research and they have already circulated 2 lakhs of sample, which proves their R&D. And why they are the game changer, we definitely talk during our session. A brand which represents 100% natural product and there is no artificial product added. With this introduction, I welcome Raghu, who is the founder of this great brand. And definitely he will talk about what kind of the model we are offering in market and why this particular brand is a game changer. Welcome to the session, Raghu. Thank you so much for sparing time for this particular special Sunday session. Over to you, Raghu. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Raghu. And before you start, I would like to interrupt, and we would like to hear from your story how it started. And this was actually what very, very inspiring for me. And I would like our audience to really understand where you come from. You're an IT professional, built large IT businesses, and now selling tea from small kiosk. What is this journey and why this is so interesting? I would like you to start from there, and then we go out on your opportunity, what you build in. So over to you, Raghu. Welcome once again. And before this start, you said that you never taken a Sunday break. So that's why we kept particularly for you on Sunday, because entrepreneurs who work on are the most ones, right? Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Maria. Thanks a lot, Archana and Sonia. Yeah, as I think I just wanted to give a brief about how we started our journey into the tea business. Though I was into niche networking side of the IT industry, we've been one of the pioneers to get the chip designing into the country, where I think no one was even dreamt about getting a chip design company into our country. So we were the first ones who ventured out with a fabless. Fabless in sense, it's like the manufacturing is done in Taiwan invariably, because there's the only facility which is available for the world to get the silicon chips out. So we were the design houses for most of the products, where we chosen a niche networking side of a storage networking area. It's called the SAN networking, where I think the huge demand for the storage as well as the retrieval process of the storage was a kind of a in thing that time, and we made a fabric chip which actually communicates to the number of servers which are linked to the storage islands, where I think the desired particular file has to be retrieved by a flick of a button, is what we accommodated with our product. So this technology was called as the iSCSI technology, and we were one of the pioneer partners with the IBM to get this product out, and we spun this out into a kind of a product which is called iSCSI cards, which is a network card which gets into the servers, which control the storage islands across the world. And these are the products which would be extensively used for the high traffic networking areas like say the financial sectors and the banks, and maybe a huge data interaction with the public. So like we sold these products to most of the companies like Bank of Bahrain, Bank of America, and NASDAQ, and Standard Chartered banks, and all those things. So this is a brief introduction about what as a product we achieved. Then we started a number of other startup companies where we went into a kind of a mobile enterprise solutions, where I think again a single console system where I think you can have the access of all the HR requirement of a particular entity, where I think they can get an access through a HR hierarchy to the different servers placed across the world. So this again got interested by another company called Citrix Networks, which is about $20 billion company in the network area. So we sold that company to them. And then now I think we're back in action. And prior to that, I think I'm also on board of a publicly traded company called Brightcom, which we are into the digital side of the technology, where we have a lot of patents to our credit, and also we have the patents which which are also helping all the search engines in getting into like Google, Yahoo's, and we also have our own search engine like Lycos is our search engine, where I think we promulgate and propagate the video advertising and other channels on the kind of the desired location of the customer or the user based on his keywords. The ad population on the screen is the technology what we built in. So that is about the technology part. So then I was having a kind of a passion, like, is there any kind of a product where I think most of these companies, because I was handling almost like about 500 to 600 engineers across a couple of locations and 11 locations worldwide. Then I think most of the Indian guys, I think, though we were actually giving them a free cup of tea and coffee at our locations, which comes from a machine. And people hesitant to have those free cup of teas, but invariably walk out for a smoke and have a tea which a boy carries with his flask and comes and pours into their cup. So that was actually a trigger for me to really see if I can do something about how to really channelize this requirement, and also maybe taste the world with a kind of a different scenario, where I think people can really be on their desk and have a fresh cup of tea, which tastes as good as brewed at home or maybe at any cafe. So that was the idea behind it. And then thought about various options, which goes into like, because most of the machines use a powdered variant of the tea, right? So which actually has got a lot of, because once you go subject your liquid to a high temperature to make it powder, then I think most of the nutrient values is lost and also the taste is lost. Though whatever the tweaking, what you do with the taste, I think you can never get a fresh taste. So that's the reason I think people don't really go for a tea which is brewed from a machine made out of the powdered concentrate. So then I think I was having an idea, and then I started a small lab in my garage, and then started doing some kind of an experiments on a liquid format of the tea, where I can, where I wanted to use it without any kind of a preservatives, but I think need to still have some shelf life, so that I think the marketability, the distributability, and the taste should remain intact and all those things. So went for a kind of a vacuum process methodology and achieved a kind of a result where I think, yes, now it has been shown to all the people. So that's a brief about how we came into this product, leaving the IT aside, but still I'm pretty much involved with IT anyway. So this is going to be my flagship product, where I think we already have built in a good team, and of course I'm very helpful and thankful to Mariaji to take us into his fold and see how we can really expand or explore this product across. So that's the brief about me. So and then going for the presentation, I think I think it's been mentioned as a game changer. Yes, it is a game changer, because I think we're going to do a kind of a dent into the kind of market where I think where the taste and the your hygienic values and other things have been taken into consideration, where I think we presumed a product where I think which also not only gives a kind of a happiness to the customers, and also we wanted to give happiness to our partners in business too. So with that reason, I think we wanted to really see a challenge where I think we can produce a product where I think with a very low investment and high profit margins, and with high ratio of investments, and also ease of operation and stability, which was our primary focus into. So people should not be worried too much about hiring skilled guys in getting this business to the customer. So that's a kind of idea which went in behind, and so that's how we got this product out. So what is our product? It is the product what we present to you is a traditional tea with a appeal of an international appeal, and the entire process is automated, and we focus pretty much on our consistent taste and quality. So this is the first ever concept. I think you will appreciate that this is the first in the world where I think there's an all-in-one tea product on a liquid format, which has been introduced by us, and it's been patented, applied for the patent, and we pretty soon are getting an approval on that also. So it's an outcome of years of research we put together and got this product onto the limelight. So the main USPs of this product I can talk about is concerned with this current situation of our COVID situation. I think this product gets into a apt position where I think, yes, it's really untouched by hands, and it's very convenient, and you don't need to worry about what is going into your cup of tea. So that's a kind of advantage which we can give you. And of course, there's a different flavors we have been introduced with the same simple mechanism, where all these flavors can be had within a flick of a second. Like by just a drop, I think you can have a masala chai, a ginger chai, a desi chai, or English chai, whatever it is. So our primary achievement was an Irani tea, which is Irani chai is, of course, it's an Hyderabadi cuisine, or maybe I think you can call it as a kind of a every time a desert kind of a tea, where I think it's pretty rich in the milk and also the sweetness, and Hyderabadis love it. And now it is being spread throughout the country. I think Irani chai has been known, I think, most of the parts as of now. And this is one of the speciality of Hyderabadi cuisine. But I think no one has really came with even the powder concept to present the Irani chai, because they could not have matched the kind of taste which Hyderabadis have. So we have achieved. I am very proud to announce that the Irani chai has been the exact replica of what I think the Irani chai available in the cafes in Hyderabad. So just brief about, I think I've gone through what is the Beyond Tea is all about. So our products are made with all 100% natural ingredients. We extract all this thing and have a very unique procedure to accumulate it into a kind of a liquid concentrate. And basically it gives you a kind of a quality which can be assured, like most of the test labs in Hyderabad. We have the production. Once we produce the product, I think it goes with a very stringent testing procedure before it reaches the customer. So we get a certification. Only then I think it has been released to the market. So as far as the hygiene and the kind of the care what we have taken to present the product, I think it has been one of our foremost forte for us to really make sure that I think you get the right product. As you're aware, I think we are Beyond Tea Brew Private Limited, who are promoting this product, and it's been a kind of an innovative concept for the first time in the world, using all the natural ingredients, and it's extremely convenient and quick to make, and it's available in multiple variants, I think, as I've already shown you in the last slide. These are a few of the accreditations we got, of course, FSSI is one of the prominent certifications required for any kind of a food need to be sold. So the food safety regulations have been thoroughly followed, and our test labs are accredited with food testing labs, and we also have a food testing lab in Hyderabad, which also certifies our products. And of course, I talked about the patent, where all our products have been patented, applied for patent, and we are waiting for the patent to come in. So what as a franchisee we're going to offer? It's our experience of years and the loyalty of the brand, operational and marketing support. It's really a big, stable, growing business, because we don't have any kind of blockades of season, age, time, and other variants which will really affect some of the businesses. But tea is an all-time product, so I think that's one of the great advantage of this product. And we also have an on-site support and sales and marketing support. Of course, I think you are the best guys to know. Our USP is, I think, it's a hassle-free model. Hassle-free, what I called is there is no requirement of you buying your ingredients on a day-to-day basis, get them to your stall, prepare and give. It's by just a flick of a button, or maybe I think just add hot water, your tea is done most hygienic way. You don't require a tea master. Basically, I think if you talk about tea or coffee, I think you require someone to really make some tea. So we have ruled out that that requirement, and we say we give the consistent taste throughout anytime by just the formula what we have used, and that's the most advantageous situation. And also you can reduce the cost of your manpower, not having a skilled tea master to make your tea. And the entire process is automated, so it's untouched by hand. So I think the customer need not worry about any kind of a contamination at any point, right from the factory to his lip. There is no contamination. So there's a truly the name also suggests that as a beyond tea is not just tea, it's beyond tea actually. But again, be on tea is like a stoned thing. So because Indians are pretty much on tea every time. I think they may consume around 10 to 15 cups a day on an average in Hyderabad, maybe, I think. So be on tea is always be on tea, like a stoned version of the tea. So, and the product what we have is having a high scalable and profitable proposition. So I think the people who wanted to really enter into this market, I think will be really profitable on those lines. A small insight about the industry of the tea in India, like it's almost like 33,000 crores on an annual around the tea market exists in India, which is, we are the second largest tea producers in the world. And the tea market is growing around 20 to 23 to 25% annually anyway. And as you guys are aware, like it's mostly in an unorganized sector, unlike the coffee, I think we have few organized people came into the field. And India is the largest consumers of the tea because it's about 65 to 66% of Indians consume tea on a regular basis, on a daily basis. So a small statistics, what we have got it is like for every cup of coffee, Indians consume around 30 cups of coffee on a daily basis. So this is a small insight about the industry what we are in. So about the comparison of the market, I think yeah, you may agree with the main points what we compare to the market, like there's a low investment, low risk, simple and fast sign up, ease of installation, because we have a CKD model of the kiosk which can be assembled and disassembled in a very easy way. So it's a the time for establishing the market is pretty less, and the other periphery of the products, like it can be monitored remotely, and all those assignments are incorporated in this the product line for us. Coming to the master franchisee model, I think the overall expenditure for the investor would be around 33 lakhs. The fees is around 25, and I think that would be depending on like how the area the investor is coming from, and the payback is on a minimal 2 to 2.5 years. I think you have the ROI return back. So this is about the master franchises, where I think they have an opportunity to grow in their particular areas to a tune about 75 to 100 odd unit franchises can be worked out through them, and there's a huge profitability margins are being built in to this thing. I think mostly I think we can talk that once we come in. And this is the kind of a model, I think it's a unit franchise model, where I think the kiosk is so designed, it's like a cup, and it is a self-reliant kiosk where it holds everything. If you look at the top rim of the kiosk, which has got a storage facility, and also it acts like a false ceiling for the operator inside the kiosk, and we have built in a fan to regulate the hot air to go out, and the entire kiosk is so designed, and the material what we use, which will stand even at the seashore, or maybe this, if it is it's a kind of an all-weather proof kind of a thing, and also it is it also resists the fire and other harsh treatments of the weather. So and also it's so built in so aerodynamically, even it blows a wind about 200 kilometers an hour. The stability of the kiosk is intact. So that's again a lot of design aspects went into create this particular kiosk to help, and at the same time we made it so simple, so this can be dismantled and can be transported almost like 20 units in a small lorry or a transport, where it can be taken across the country. So that's a kind of a thing what we have done, and it's a single lock system where I think with one lock the entire kiosk gets locked in. So there is no hassle of having a multiple locking system for securing the entire kiosk. So that is again one of the other advantages what we had. So there's a lot of thinking went in behind the designing of the kiosk itself, and also we have our own dispensing units where I think it dispenses the right amount of decay and also the flavors what is required by the customer, and also has got a monitoring facility with a CCTV camera built in, where you have a two-way communication from the owner of the kiosk to the operator and vice versa. So all this I think is all part of it, and also a display screen behind the operator, where I think you can give the story about the product, or maybe I think in future we can also have a kind of a advertising revenue coming out of that. The customer walks in and also half of the screen can be hired for the advertisement revenue. So these are the kind of a small advantages we built in into the entire kiosk. It's pretty compact, as well as very utility wise. I think it has given the right kind of approach, and as well as the cleaning and keeping the hygiene of that entire kiosk, because it's all polypropylene material, where I think by a flick of the cloth, I think the entire dust gets out, and the kiosk can be very clean. And even the flooring, what we have done is epoxy flooring, where I think the cleaning of the floor is also pretty much easy, and it would be very easy for them to clean and maintain the kiosk as such. So these are a few of the merchandise what we give it to the operator there with our t-shirts, and we have a cap, and we have an apron, and also the glove, and now we are adding up the face mask, which is required, and also we are providing them with a kind of a shield in between the customer and the operator. So there's a polypropylene screen which is scratch proof and dust proof, and also heat resistant screen, where I think you are away from the customer, and the customer also safe from the operator, as well as the operator is safe from the customer. This is the need of the hour for today. So those are the things we added here. So yeah, thank you. I think I look forward to being the partners in sharing our success. So that's from my side. Yeah, thank you. Any question and answer?
Raghu, I think, it's always a delight to hear you out. I mean, you're, I would say, super passionate, intelligent entrepreneur. So I think, so passion is clearly reflected on whatever you do, you know. So, and you are a creative mind, and coming from a innovation and development viewpoint. And I was very impressed when I first spoke to you, and I was, in every of our webinar, we talk about the principles of franchising. So I'll reiterate, and I added one more because every time I talk about 4 or 5, and I've now made 6. So one is what we call affordability. So this is a very affordable business model. So I like it from that perspective. It's just about a one kiosk, which is all operated, beverage and food, and 8 lakh rupees. And even we'll talk about the master franchise opportunity in detail, how it works, and so forth. It's a sustainable business model. It has no wastages, no shrinkages. Everything can be measured. How much cups of tea which you have given can be measured, because every premix which the liquid you add, you know how many cups can. So it's absolutely sustainable business model, and these freestanding kiosks can be put in captive facilities. It can be inside any kind of captive facility, even at travel locations where people just have to stop and pick up their tea and go and things like that. So grab and go format is extremely sustainable. It's a scalable business model. It can be 10,000 outlets, as you said. Indian tea business, which you said is 33,000 crore. And just to add for our audience, Indian street food business, uh, I think Raghu has taken a challenge to modernize and convert, is a $2 billion market, and players like Tata Tea, uh, Hindustan Livers, and a lot of these big companies actually have a share in this business. So they actually empower these small tea shops and supply teas to them. And these tea shops have conventionally not changed. They still have very primitive way of cooking, making the tea and so on and so forth, but it touches our taste buds. And I've myself attended 2 times full training on tea tasting and so on and so forth. So I know whatever people think about conventional tea tasting is very different to what Indians drink. Indians add sugar and heat it, and it actually disturbs your tea buds. So, but we now are so addicted to our kind of tea that we all go to these stands and we find this kadakness of the tea, which comes in Irani tea or any other conventional tea we want, which is a little bit which comes from milk and sugar and more than the flavor of the tea. So it's a very scalable business model. It's also very predictable business model because if you have a particular place, how many captive audience you have, how much predictability, how many times they would come and achieve. If you're in a business location, if you're a leisure location, depending on where you are, you can bring in a lot of predictability to entire thing. And credibility really comes from an entrepreneur like you. You have been extremely successful, and you now bring in a huge amount of credibility to what you're bringing in. But one more thing I added was transferability of a business model. I feel that sometimes businesses are so complex and they are designed in a manner that it becomes very difficult to transfer. Especially in food, I've realized that most of the businesses fail because when you transfer the business, sometimes because it's a personal intervention, chefs are not there, talent staff is not there. So the transferability of the knowledge becomes a big problem, and you have a quality issues, standardization issues, and so on and so forth. So what I think you have addressed is a phenomenal thing. I'll tell you a story. My own journey started in US in franchising, and the first company I really got involved, and I was buying that company at one point in time, and then I wanted to broker that company, was a company called Subway. And incidentally, because I'm today in my hometown in Chandigarh, I got a document. I'll show you, my audience can see. This is a document of Subway agreement. And the date here, I don't know if people can see, this date is way back in 99, 1st of April. So this is the time where they give me, I went to the University of Subway and in 99, and they gave me a full tour about the business, and they gave me their agreement to sign off for them. And what I liked about their company, they have a sandwich university, that they were made the business model what they call idiot proof. And the business model was so idiot proof that even if you put somebody who doesn't know anything about it, the business still runs well. So I should compliment. I actually thought about you in the morning and sitting here and thought about the same moment when this company revolutionized, Subway revolutionized the way this very simple sandwich was so standardized that it created the same effect. If you take it to any continent and any part of the world, it created the same effect. So congratulations to you. So you are also trying to revolutionize, which Italians did to coffee. They created machines which can deliver a gourmet coffee experience. I think as an Indian, you have developed a machine and the product and the liquid concentrate, which can deliver an absolutely same kind of a quality which we want from there. And it is hygiene, it is food safety, and a lot of other things on that. So congratulations to you. So I think another Indian Subway in making. So we would certainly enjoy a partnership with you. Another things which you have brought in, which is need of the hour, is food safety, a modernization of our current mom and pop kiosk and these so to say thelawalas, and the efficiency of delivery, the throughput. So now my question really starts from there. From a sales viewpoint, how many cups a machine can able to do, and how much time it takes to brew 1 cup of tea, and what kind of pricing you really see comes in, and what kind of a small kiosk, freestanding kiosk, can do a sales up to? Over to you, Raghu.
I think you'll appreciate, like we already put up about almost like 50 odd kiosk across Hyderabad as of now. This will tied up with this metro, the street level kiosk. So our experience we have built in is a robust rug machine. It requires initial time frame about 10 to 15 minutes for the initialization of the machine takes in. Once it happens, I think every minute, I think we can give about 3 cups per minute. So that's a kind of a 3 to 4 cups per minute based on the kind of the variant you select. So the kind of average sales, I think we've been looking at it as right from somewhere around 300 to based on the locations what we are working right. And I would also like to put up on the perspective of the kind of the footfalls. You look at it in the bus terminals and the railway terminals, which are pretty much high. And to that effect, the machine also can really perform, and the kind of the time required to dispense the cups is also, I think, being taken into account. And that's where I think you'll appreciate we can really get into any kind of a volume what you can look in for.
Yeah, sure. So back of the card calculation is that in a 200 cups bought in 1 hour, and if you get 5 or 6 trading hours, you can do even 1,000 cups so easily. And 1,000 even to a man to make it on the gas and things like that, it's not possible. It's not possible. Even the busiest of the because they would make 10 to 15, 10 cups or so. If you are also having a cutting tea, then also 10 cups come out of every single rotation. So the cycle is very.
Yeah, you can say that if it is a manually brewed a tea master in that particular kiosk, where I think the time taken for him to really sell this kind of a volume would be really hard, because I think they use a pretty smaller volume of the vessels and do that, and every time I think it changes. So they require a lag time. For us, what I mean to say is we don't have any kind of a lag time once it starts. So that's an advantage you can look into.
And the machine is only electrical, so you don't have any gas cost and other costs. And it is a controlled environment.
That is a fixed machine, so you don't require a high voltage of power requirement, or maybe like 3-phase or something like that. You require only a single phase, which is available across anywhere, and the power bill is also not much. So it's also a savings for them using this compared to the gas and other alternative mediums of making tea.
And there's a lot of energy loss there, so that gas is always higher. You have to pay a lot of gas in that piece. And tea is a very value product, so even any small component can actually increase your beverage cost. My next question is, what is your beverage cost per cup? What percentage of beverage cost goes in buying? Say, if I have become a franchisee, I would have to buy the liquid from you or the master franchise. What would be my beverage cost as a unit franchisee?
I think it is more or less about 50% is your profit margins on what we give out. So suppose a typical cup of tea, which is coming from the company for you, maybe around 7, and you are selling it about 50. So that's a kind of a cost comparison I think you can get into.
This would also include the package, the cup cost also.
Exactly, including.
So just for including, because cup would cost, and then there would be also the tea and the sugar and everything else included. The entire cost of gross cost of
is what customer is around 50. And you're making around 50% on that. So that's a simple math.
Only on that balance 50% margin which you would get, you would have to pay whatever occupancy cost and one person who's attending that entire thing. So which means technically, even if you put 15% occupancy cost and maybe another 15% on your other cost with people and your manpower and other things, you still can take 20-25% back home. So 15% would be too high for for a manpower, but maybe
This is a
10% is
gross
for
one.
manpower
That's the kind of
and 15% for occupancy. So 25% absolute margin you can get. And if your kiosk is doing 2 lakh rupees sale, 25% would mean that you will take home 50,000 rupees. So it's a very interesting business model from that perspective. It has no location challenge. For reasons you found a location and you put a kiosk and it was not working, you can move the entire place. So it has no losses. You can just move that to another location and you're ready to do. So I have a few other questions which I will first let Sonia come in, because I think she's having a lot of questions for you. And Sonia, over to you. Your remark on the concept and what initial questions you would have.
Thank you so much, Raghuji, for coming on a Sunday over this opportunity. I was rather taking all the questions from our viewers, and the very interesting questions which have come in. But just to put my perspective, and what we have been seeing and reading also, tea is the highest consumed beverage after water, and it has a very universal appeal, so to say. And today, for long, Asia Pacific has been leading as far as consumption of tea is concerned, and which has been for everyday life, be it home, work, or travel, or wherever we have been going. But I personally feel it has been a very underrated beverage in India, at least maybe 8 or 9 years back. And only the last 8 years has witnessed actually a very conscious, serious, consistent, and a very successful effort which has been made by a lot of players and few players to position this particular category in a organized cafe segment. And I would say thanks to the early success of maybe companies like Chayos or the Chai Point, I saw a reference of that also in our chat room, which actually demonstrated it was very viable opportunity to run, and also a lot of investors who invested in these businesses. So if I talk about the category at large, Raghuji, and I'll have some questions pertaining to that. Today, the entire category, as far as the tea services are concerned, they constitute a big portion, as far as the entire food service segment is concerned, which is close to 44%, if I'm not wrong. It constitutes almost 44% of the entire food service category, which is close to about 1.5 trillion. And howsoever, while the entire industry, as we speak, is unorganized, as well as we have organized players which have now come in, and the out of home consumption of tea is close to about 40%. And these times, because people get more conscious about the food they're eating, the place they are going, you talked about, zero contact or untouched by hand. So hygiene and safety will become paramount for a lot of investors. And we'll start to see, while there has been a lot of effort being done to bring the category overall into the organized segment, but maybe the current times will actually accelerate that and bring that more into the organized sector. Food is one constituent which I also want to pick up, and what we have seen in the other categories, or be it coffee or even the tea chains, and especially as far as India is concerned, we have a very close affinity towards these light snacks which accompany food, and even companies like Starbucks and other food brands, tea brands rather, have a percentage which is anything between 18 to 35%, which constitutes as their food product offering to the consumer. So my first question is perhaps on the component of food. We did talk about the tea. Is there a component of food which also comes as an accompaniment along? Is one question. And the other is what kind of pricing we have, because I have some people who want to know what kind of pricing we have, which is the range between say 15 onwards. And if there's food, what kind of items we have in the menu?
Appreciate that. I think you will appreciate this. Like we have actually looked into that also, and in the gamut of the entire operations, we wanted to do something like which is a dry kind of a snack to be made available across, which is also packed and untouched by hands, which comes in a pillow packs and all. So we have some cookies and biscuits which have been done like that. And for the food segment, maybe it is a quick takeaway kind of a model where it's like a cup of noodles kind of a model where we have developed our pongal and upma variants from the oatmeal, which is again in a dry snack, which our machine can give hot water facility to that particular cup. So the operator can just fill the cup with the hot water and hand it over as a snack to the customer. So all these things are added into this, and also we have developed dry samosas and other things which actually goes along with the tea. So all the savories have been also included into the menu what we have. So this is a kind of a preparation what we have done to keep the hygiene factor alive. So where I think you have absolutely packed, ready to eat kind of items which have been accompanied along with the tea sales, what we're going through. So the costing for that is pretty minimal. It's around sub 25 to 30 rupees a kind of a pack, or what you can say. And the biscuits are around 10 to 15 bucks, which will have two biscuits in 1 kilo pack. So that's the kind of thing. And even in this food items, the franchisee would be earning the same kind of margins out of it.
Rakuji, just continuing on it, what percentage of revenue is contributed by beverages, and what percentage of revenue would come from food? If we assume that 2 lakh is an average revenue a small kiosk like this can make, what is the percentage revenue between these two?
Our experience, I think, all these days, it's almost like about 18 to 22% of the sale is on the food. The most is on the beverages. So I think that's a kind of a ratio what we have. And also we have our own packaged water we give as a bottle, which again comes in a 500 ml water bottle. Even that they have about the same kind of the earnings from that also. So it's a complete solution for the customer who walks in. So maybe an average ticket size about something ranges from 20 to 100, 150 or 200 bucks, a kind of a ticket size we can expect.
The second thing, Rakuji, which I would like to touch upon is the location. And success for any food brand venture, and especially for a format like yours, very much depend on which location we are in. And perhaps today, real estate being rationalized, I think that's one advantage which can be taken, especially in a product like tea, which cannot really ask for a very high premium. And most of the locations and many companies which came in the past, maybe the early years, they failed because they tried to maybe do a higher capex. They went to locations which are very high as far as rentals are concerned. So, with the locations which you also talked about, like transportation hubs, tech parks, government offices, typically become the viable locations to for one to look at. And also, while, I am taking this up because I see some questions where people want to understand how you differentiate or what is your value proposition vis-a-vis the other players like Chaayos and Chai Point. And if I want to add, and maybe you can perhaps correct or add to it, the repeat customer in your case, I believe should be higher because you're in a catchment area where maybe your subscriber or your customer comes more often than the others. For example, in case of Chaayos, they have an average customer repeat of 3.8 times a month, which in your case should be higher. Do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah. I think if you look at those models, I think the Chaayos and the Chai Points, I think it's a very capital intensive kind of a proposition where I think the huge investments gets in, and also we require a lot of skilled manpower to handle them, their footing. As well as I think the kind of a costing, if you look at it, I think it's actually the averages out of what you have said. For us, I think it's a kind of a, we're going to create a kind of a habit to the customer. So I think the person who has a tea, I think he need to come very often. Maybe I think it could be a kind of a number of times a day.
Right.
So that kind of a customer acquisition we can dream about, and the kind of locations I think we can easily fit into any kind of environment. Like I think we have a lot of inquiries coming up from corporate offices where I think they offer us a small place. I think we can get into that issue, and also like a lot of hospitals. I think it's a big kind of a market where I think most of the patient attenders are into the hospital sites. I think they live on tea mostly, and most of these hospitals are actually run by either machines or maybe by any tea master who brews, and most of them don't allow this kind of mechanism to get into the hospital environment where I think it contaminates maybe both the environment as well as the patients also. So they restrict those kind of activities of preparing something within the environment, right? So there, I think we are a perfect fit because we are doing nothing, but it's all handled by machines. At the same time, you are offering them the right taste and the right kind of pricing for the customers who come in there. And also, I think if you look at the other environments like the small office setups, like if you call banks with about 8 to 10 people or 20 people. So with these small kiosk units, I think they can really serve the entire periphery of that particular kiosk area for all small offices. Like we have a lot of business coming out from the periphery area of banks and the small advocates offices or maybe a CA offices, where I think they wanted us to supply tea to them because they every time cannot send someone to or maybe I think they cannot come to the particular kiosk and have the tea. So we have a use and throw kettle model also, where I think we can have this transferability of the tea to that particular small office environment, where is a huge business opportunity available there too. So if you look at those kind of opportunities, I think we are the right fit in that.
Great.
Well, I think
one question, while we, sorry.
Like the Chayos and the Chai Point, though they may give that, I think the kind of the ticket size would be very, very high.
That's what I said, they have a repeat rate of about 3.8 because a lot of people with an average ticket size of 250 rupees will not come every day. So that is one of the...
Yes.
Yeah. Could you have one question, while we've talked about how big the opportunity is and, what kind of ROIs one can have, I have one question which one of our viewers want to understand. What is the issue or the problem, or, maybe I would say the flip side of the opportunity, which if you want to say something on that, which could be, we talked about location. Location is one important parameter. Anything else that you think an investor needs to have so that he's able to safeguard against any kind of danger or maybe operating style, anything on those lines if you would want to add?
Or maybe downtime, so machine goes down and in trading hour, how much time it takes to turn around that machine and what is the backup of after service and things like that.
Yeah, so we are giving a small electric boiler, like it's a kind of a hot water boiler as well as you can brew the tea in that also. So in times of any emergency, if the machine goes down, but we wanted to assure that like through our franchise partner, like the master franchise guy, we will have some of these machines kept as a kind of a standby with them. So if there is any kind of a malfunctioning of the machine comes in, so there's always a kind of a small kettle can be had, and you can do that with our kind of a combination what we have for the time being till the machine arrives. So that's a kind of an arrangement what we already built into that facility.
Okay. Are there any royalties that we are charging? Because I didn't see a mention of that during the presentation. Is there a royalty also which is being charged on the total sales?
No, we are not charging any kind of a royalty from the sales. So it's pretty much, I think, because with that, I think the customer acquisition goes up. So the cost for the customer goes up. So we don't want to really do that. And our idea is to really spread in a big way, in a more maximum number, so that I think people enjoy the kind of facility.
Great. So it's a zero royalty model, and all supplies go from the company.
Everything.
We have a question which is related to the concentrate. Does it have sugar content? One, and second, how long is the shelf life of the concentrate?
Yeah. If you look at the kind of shelf life, what we are promising onto this thing is about 90 days is what we are propagating. But few of the local places, we made it for 45 days for the quicker turnaround. But I think our lab has given us almost like about 4 to 6 months of shelf life, which is still going on.
Okay. While we see a lot of items in the menu, which out of these are the highest selling items or teas?
Yeah. In Hyderabad, I think we had a maximum sale on the Irani, because I think that's been mostly allowed.
No points to guess that,
No brainer.
And also the masala and cardamom and lemon apricot is again, which is one of the flagship product from us, which doesn't have milk, but it is a lemon and apricot flavor, which is the only product which we have done it, which has also got a very refreshing taste. I think could be like
And what
the
is,
people doesn't
Raghu,
want to
what
have.
is your favorite? Let's ask this way. What is your favorite?
My favorite is Iran. My favorite is Irani and apricot because that's what I think it's very close to me.
So maybe Irani balances the other one, you know. So you do a balance between these two teas, you know. If you have too much of Irani, then you have to have the.
Irani, yeah, Irani is something like you can't have a bigger quantity. Maybe I think
Filling, maybe filling.
shots of Irani chai, but lemon apricot, I think it's an all-time kind of tea which we can have it. Though I think if someone is very health conscious and all, I think it's all made with honey and apricot and tea flavors. So I think which is healthy also.
Raghuji, I have one question which I want to take up. Rather, I should have taken it up at the beginning because a lot of people want to know, out of the 8 lakh investment that goes in, what are the components, how much stock investment is required, what is the cost of the fabricated structure of the kiosk, and what kind of other equipment costs. So a total of 8 lakhs, does it also include the 2 lakh franchise fee, or the 2 lakhs is over and above? So maybe a breakup of the entire investment for our viewers.
Also breakup of equipment, because they want to have is there a chiller available for the cooling of the water and things like that. So maybe a good reason for giving a breakup of the whole 8 lakhs.
I think this 8 lakhs includes our franchisee fee also inbuilt into those numbers. And as well as I think if you look at that is the entire cost of the total setup, including your kiosk, which also comes out with a brewing machine, which is again made from us. And we have a CCTV monitoring facility within, and we have giving a 32 inches of TV for display, as well as the ad revenue generation model. In the future, we can also look into that. We also have a warmer, which actually it's a OTG oven, where I think you can reheat some of these samosas and other variants of food with the warmer and give it to them. And of course, it's also comes out with a small chiller, which actually holds around 12 bottles of water in that, 12 liters of water into that. So again, because we're also selling water from there. Because of this space constraint, I think we cannot have a huge chillers or other periphery within. So, and plus we are also giving a kind of a standby boiler, which actually it's a water heater and as well as a tea brewing small boiler, which actually cares as any contingency issues with the machine comes in. And this machine also has got a RFID reader if it is getting into any corporates where I think you can directly link your user or maybe the employees of that particular corporate, and if there is any standardization of giving 2 cups or 3 cups of tea on a daily basis, this RFID reader helps the HR to calibrate those things onto the machine. And at the same time, I think it also gives a kind of a monitoring facility to the owner, where I think you'll have a real-time data coming into your app on the usage.
Great. Helpful, Raghuji. I'll just go back. What is the cost, approximate cost for the kiosk, the prefab, and what amount goes in the stock, initial stock?
The kiosk is going to cost about 1.35, I think, include plus some GST as well as the machine is costing almost like with GST about 75K something, and the other periphery like TV, your CCTV networks, plus the other, including your stock, the rest of that is sub around 50 to 65. Plus around we have included around 2.75 to 3 lakhs as a contingency. So to have kind of payouts for next 3 months, even to stabilize the business. So even that is built in.
Raghuji, I still have a question which is coming on the sugar. Does the premix include sugar? I did think we missed on that. It includes sugar?
Yes, the premix is all included. So there is no additional sugar required.
Okay, what about people who don't want to consume is one question which I have from Yash. Is there any option available for people?
Like English tea and other things which has got a lesser sugar. We are also introducing a sugar-free version because here my product requires sugar for a stabilization product. So I think we need to have that. And that's the reason we are calling it as a happy tea because whatever, even the patients, the diabetic patients, I think they wanted at least 1 or 2 cups of tea with sugar. So that's a kind of culture what we bought in because the tea drinking is a culture in India. So I think we cannot help it. So for the non-sugar variants, we have the lemon variants where I think we don't use sugar in that. It's only honey being used there. So I think you get the sweetness anyway. But we already have a product which is in the is the final stage of the R&D production, which we are trying to give the same kind of a taste with the sugar, but it doesn't have a sugar. That we will introduce shortly sometime.
Great.
Otherwise, I think it's pretty much a happy tea is what we can call it.
Great. I think we wanted to cover on the master franchisee. Would you want to take that up? We discussed about 25 lakh model, and I wanted to understand, is the territory defined for that 25 lakhs? Is it a state or a city, or it's based on the opportunity? So what does that 25 lakh include? Is it just the investment on the fee, or does it also include the investment on the first outlet one? And second, what kind of sharing is between the master franchisee and the parent company, which is you?
If you look at those parameters, I think we are looking at an area franchise, maybe like a city, or if you call it kind of a community, or maybe I think somewhere I think about 100 odd unit franchises would be handled by one master franchise is what we are looking in, and the kind of the fee what we are charging is for giving the kind of exposure for this, and as well as I think they need to have at least 1 or 2 to begin with to have a unit franchises for them to explain that to further roll down the other required numbers of unit franchises. Then the kind of franchisee fees would be shared 50-50 between the master franchisee and the company.
Okay, great. Raghuji, I have one question which I'll take up. And before, if you want to pick up anything from the Q&A, it looks like we've kind of covered all. We do have people asking from different locations. So is there a plan for Tamil Nadu is one of the questions, and some other locations which people want to. I wanted to understand, because you currently operate out of Hyderabad. Outside Hyderabad, will it be a master franchise model, or you can also offer a unit franchise model is one of my questions. And second is, what kind of locations is your first preference or rollout in? Is it South, or are we looking at Pan India as a strategy?
Yeah, I think outside Hyderabad, we are predominantly looking for a master franchisee because I think for the ease of operations to be carried on, because I cannot just go give one franchise, unit franchise in Delhi. Suppose I have to need to cater them from here. If it is a master franchise, I think it would be pretty easy for us to really do the logistics to the supply of these materials. Maybe I think those are the areas I think I'm looking. But we are open for the pan-India model. But I think supported by a master franchisee in those areas where at least I think I need to have 25 minimum unit franchises to begin with, so that I think it gives a viable option for the business for both the partner and the company.
And it is a great option for a lot of our friends who are listening. A master franchise for an opportunity like this is very scalable. In each territory, the minimum performance you can expect is 100 units, but it is not far that you can even do a 500 units or 1,000 units. And with the fee sharing, it is a very big revenue earning capability, not for the immediate franchise sales. If you sell 150 or 200 franchisee in your region, which is very easy. I don't want to name on the forum, but there are a lot of unorganized tea shops in India, franchise shops which have no standardization. They work on a conventional way. They are also running 200, 250 centers in one state. So there is a lot of opportunity to now bring in standardized way of doing it, simplest form, lesser manpower required. I know a lot of small shops of tea shops which run on 7, 8 people working there because they have to make a lot of tea every time, and they have 3 burners running out, and to even service 500 cups or 1,000 cups, it looks like a nightmare. And but this can deliver 1,000 cups with the ease and with the lesser manpower. That's what automation which do to humans. If you and a good engineering is always helpful. A good engineering with innovation of the product which suits Indians, and that's always great. And that's how you scale the business and build larger business models. And that's how I think global companies which have really created that kind of revolution in any kind of a service is always the combination of innovation and automation. And innovation and automation is a great combination to bring in, and what I think Raghu has already achieved. So master franchise is a tremendous opportunity. Master franchise is also a long-term viewpoint where you build your region, you support your region, you handle the supply chain, find sites, work with your unit franchisees to get locations with them. And I think then the business model is extremely scalable. So this is very helpful, Raghu. I think we can continue with you, but we already run over 1 hour, and a lot of people are now they would start texting that they're feeling hungry and they want to go to lunch. And I don't want a lot of our viewers, because they're very committed. They come every time to our webinars. Some of them are also our franchise consultants, independent franchise consultants who are working across markets, and they would be in touch with you. And some also independent franchise consultants will also join us, and they also bring in their set of investors and reach out to our brands and so on and so forth. So there is a huge community now being built, which is working on helping opportunities and entrepreneurs connect. And this community we are also fueling so that more and more opportunities can connect with newer entrepreneurs. So before we call it a close, we would like to hear from the man who created a lot of IT products and now revolutionizing through innovation and automation the tea business in India. Raghu, your last remarks, and also from Sonia, your last remarks, and special maybe a remark for us being a Sunday today. So what you would like to say to our audience?
Yeah, maybe I think I would like to really invite and I would like to really call it as like share the kind of success what I think we have achieved, and at the same time I think have a great weekend.
And also the secret lies in tasting. Secret lies in tasting. If you can have somebody in Hyderabad walk into a place, maybe call your friend and say, I give you 50 rupees, go and have a tea there, and get a feedback, what they say on the product. If you like the product, then only walk the journey. Sonia, over to you.
Thank you so much, all our viewers, for coming on a Sunday afternoon to take this opportunity. And I was just thinking, I see very close linkage of all the IITians with tea, and hence, technology into play. The earlier brands like Chayos and the kinds also had these IITians coming and getting into this industry. So I feel the need of today, as far as this category is concerned, is to replicate the experience of obviously the roadside vendors, but in a very clean and a hygienic environment. Fast delivery, technology-driven retail, and convenience reduces wastage and manpower. And pricing is something which really determines how successful the format would be. And I feel you have a combination of all these three. So, Raghuji, wishing you all the best, and have a great Sunday ahead. And maybe in a next trip to Hyderabad, we certainly look forward to coming, visiting, and experiencing your tea.
Anytime, yes.
Iranian tea,
Yeah.
so Irani chai is on my to-do list now. Waiting for lockdown to open up. Archana, over to you for your final thanks. And also, before I close this, just to add on, we have Sharath, who's also on a panel list. Sharath, if you can say hello. He's going to be leading the project from our side. You can reach Sharath for any kind of inquiries, both on unit or a master. He's an independent franchise consultant, works for Franchise India. very dedicated person and a very information based person. So I think if you have any queries, any suggestions, or any more further details you want, please reach to him. Sharath, if you can write your email ID on the chat room, so our investors can reach you. Over to you, Archana.
So thank
you,
you so
Gaurav sir.
much. Yeah, Sharath, please go ahead.
Thank you, Gaurav sir. Thank you, Raghu sir. Thank you, Sonia ma'am.
Thank you, Sharatji.
So thank you so much, friends and all the participants who shared their afternoon, Sunday afternoon with us and gave us the opportunity where we presented a great brand from Hyderabad to all of you. We want to thank you, Raghu sir. Great insight. We learn about your journey. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. As usual, giving us the great experience which you guys are having and sharing your insights about the industry. So team, friends, you can follow Gaurav and Sonia ma'am at their respective LinkedIn ID that's there on your screen. You can also check your chat tool. You can also check the chat tool right now. We have shared all the links where you can follow us on our social network. You can call us at the respective numbers. You can write back to us. We at Franchise India is ready to give you help on each and every opportunity which we think is right suitable for you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your rest of the Sunday. Take good care of your health and your family. With this wish, we would like to invite you tomorrow for again a great brand. #1 generic medicine franchisee with, imagine, 1100 stores pan India, a great brand to witness their journey. Don't miss this chance where our industry expert like Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am, and brand directors himself talking about their great brand. So do join us tomorrow sharp at 12. You shall receive all the documentation and confirmation mail from our side. The recorded version of this particular webinar is also available at the Franchise India Brands Limited and Franwork Facebook page. Do like us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Best wishes from our side.